Does nobody have to go? Will you record us singing?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm planning on it.
Perfect. Well, we're gonna try it over.
Oh.
Now is the time to be quiet.
Dad was born on a kitchen table at 225 South, 3rd West. In Brigham City. In the house that Grandma had built for Grandma. The kitchen didn't have any kitchen cabinets because Grandma traded the kitchen cabinets for French doors that went out to nowhere. And he milked cows in the barn behind the house. And that's where he fell in love with horses and cowboys. As a child and a young boy, he would ride a horse out to Corinne to hang out with cowboys and to talk to them and learn their ways along in the ranches along the Bear River. A movie company came out to Corinne one day, and when they saw all the tricks that Dad could do on his horse, they wanted to buy that horse. Dad said no, he wasn't going to give up his horse. But the cowboys out there, they started egging him on and told him it's just a horse. You can always get another horse. They'll give you enough money for another horse. And then they offered him a saddle on top of that. And Dad said yes. And he walked all the way from Grimm back to 225 South, 3rd West. He always regretted that. And he told me one time that a horse is never just a horse. That's why he kept Tony, his favorite horse, for 40 years until Tony died. My first memories of Dad are down on the farm in Brigham, milking cows and cutting hay. He and Grandpa would sit there and milk those cows, and they'd sing cowboy songs the whole time. He taught me to be tough on that farm. I was expected to carry buckets of water out to the cows, even though I was only 6 years old and younger. And the bulls, no matter how cold it was, and no matter how wet and frozen my pants were. I remember one Christmas Eve. I was no more than 6, but I learned how to curse. And I was out there cursing those cows. I was cursing Dad, and I was cursing everybody I could because I was cold. I was really cold. My pants were frozen. And Dad, he got up and he came out. He told me to stop cursing. And I cursed again. I learned that from Grandma. And he said, you know, Santa Claus might not come tomorrow if you keep cursing. And I cursed again. But what I also did was I kept carrying those buckets of water until those troughs were filled. Because that's what my dad wanted me to do. And that was what I was going to do, no matter what. Dad worked at that farm every morning. He milked the cows. And then with Superior Dairy, he went out and he delivered milk to all of the schools. And he let me ride in the back of that truck. I remember it well. And then he and Kirk would go to work at a sheet metal company until it was time to come back, milk those cows again, do the chores down on that farm. Why did he work that hard? Because of Montana. Because he needed a down payment for a ranch 1962, when I was Dad, Tim, Dad had that down payment, and he bought a ranch on North Meadow Creek and South Meadow Creek, and it is a creek, it's not a creek, there in McAllister, Montana. Mama wasn't so thrilled about going up there. You know, her friends were in Brigham. She loved Brigham. She had all of his friends there. She only agreed to move up there when Dad agreed to shave off his mustache. And he didn't want to do it. And it was painful, but we all got to watch him, all the boys, shave off that mustache. He started growing it after he came back from the war. In World War II, he helped to liberate the Mariana Islands. He would never tell me what really happened that day. Most of the time, he was a machinist working on the diesel engines. But that day, he went ashore. And all he could tell me was it was bloody and involved knives. And he didn't want to talk about it any more than that. Kirk, Dad, and I made our first trip to Montana. Sorry, Mike, but Dad rigged it. He had straws, and whichever one was going to hold out the long straw was going to get to go. Dad had rigged it so I could go. We took up a bunch of cows and some equipment, and we're up there for a week. I'll never forget my first meal. My dad tied a bandana around his eyes, went into the pantry, grabbed 3 cans, green beans, canned spaghetti, and kidney beans. He threw them in the only pot we had, and that's was the first meal in Montana. Montana was hard on Mom. She had to work as a house cleaner, as a waitress. She had to work in any way she could so that she could help pay for canned goods to go along with the venison. Dad finally did learn to make a mean stew, but it took him a long time to get that talent going. He farmed me out to another ranch so that I could do the same and bring home money. Because we were all in this together, trying to make a difference, trying to scratch out a life. There was no one who worked harder than my father. He got up every morning at 4 o'clock, and he read. He would read about water rights. He'd read about laws. He'd read about artificial insemination. He'd read about crossbreeding. And he'd read his scriptures.
There you go.
By 5, he and I went out and we milked those cows. And eventually Mike joined in. Then we'd walk, my 2 brothers, Randy, Mike, and me, down the end of the lane. It was about a quarter of a mile, maybe a third of a mile. And we would wait for the bus, and we'd go to school. Dad, he never stopped working. He worked all day long. He made that ranch work. With only 87 cows, he made that ranch work. He could throw a bale of hay on his shoulder, taught me how to do it, and take it out there, and the cows would follow him. He put up fences. He did everything he could possibly do. And he didn't stop until it was dark at night. And then he'd come in. And he raised the 3 of us to know what hard work really was. But also for me to love cowboy life. Tony, every one of them except for Mac. And Dad went and bought Mac because he was a roping horse from a rodeo. He wanted one rodeo horse there with us. We got by, and Dad paid off that ranch, but we would never have survived without Grandma and Grandpa coming up every summer with cases of food. And for me and my brothers, one pair of pants and 2 shirts. And those were our new school clothes each year. Oh, and the bottled peaches. They were so good. I was the rebel, the one who would yell at Dad about Richard Nixon and Vietnam. Randy, he was the talented one. He could play music that would just amaze you. I didn't know a sousaphone could sound so beautiful. And his voice, wow. And Mike was the baby of the family. He could do no wrong. He got the only room that had wood paneling in it. He was the apple of his mother's eye. Everyone at school, he was the popular one. He had all of the friends. Got his own motorcycle. Everybody loved him. How the heck did he ever become a police chief? It makes no sense. Dad loved us all, and he wanted the best for us and for Mom. He was the rotating branch president, if you could call it a branch. Janine knows this. There were 3 families. Okay. We were in an old building, an old hall that you couldn't heat up no matter what. We had to leave our hats and our coats and everything else on in the winter. And then we finally moved into an old dilapidated church in Ennis that was just as cold. And I'll never forget that. But Dad loved being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. One time, I remember, because we were about the only Mormons up there, our window on a car that Grandma had given us, an old Galaxy, got bashed in while we were at a basketball game. Rocks and everything else. We came out, and my dad didn't lose his temper, didn't lose his compassion. He didn't even get mad. Dad made sure that all 3 of us went to college. But more importantly, he made sure that all 3 of us went on missions. Me to Argentina, Randy to England and Wales, and Mike to Ecuador. I don't know how he paid for those missions. I know Kirk helped. I know that Grandma helped. And Grandpa helped. I brought back from Argentina, if you saw that saddle out there, that leather rope that he used for years and years and years. And I brought it back because I knew it was the one thing that would matter to him, because he was a cowboy. Man, he could rope and he could ride. I didn't think that Dad would ever leave Montana, but he did. And he did it because of the love for his wife, for my mom. Her kidneys had failed, and she had to have dialysis. In Montana, that's 248 miles away. There's no opportunity to do that. So in 2004, he left for the love of a woman. They wintered in Yuma, and there they made so many good friends. After Mom died, Dad was pretty lost. But he kept going back to Yuma because there were friends there, and he needed somebody. He was the chair of the park, and in church in Yuma, he met his second wife, Jean. They fell in love, and they couldn't wait to get married. They kept moving up and moving up and moving up, like young kids. Kept moving up and moving up the date. They moved up the date so fast that Jody and I couldn't even get back there for the wedding. Dad continued to attend church and continued to get Sunday lessons. The ranch now, up there in Montana, has over 150 people attending. It's amazing. Montana. Dad may be burying here in Utah, but his heart and the Nelson's heart will always be in Montana. As the song goes that we've been listening to, my father gave me Montana. No matter where I go, it carries me. When I look inside, I see Montana. Dad was always working on me as far as religion goes, trying to bring me back. And he made me make a promise that I'm going to keep here today. And that was that he asked me to read a scripture for him that talks to him, and talks to me, and talks to everybody else. I can't do this alone. So I'm going to ask all of you to help me. It's on the back of the program. Please pull it out. I don't want to mess this up for Dad. Let's do it together. Okay? Please. Condemn me not because of my imperfection, neither my Father because of his imperfection, neither them who have written before him, but rather give thanks unto God that he hath made manifest unto you our imperfections, that ye may learn to be more wise than we have been. Dad, I love you. Thank you.
Seldom it's heard a discouraging relate some stories about Grandpa. And with their help, and I didn't get time really to get with Gaileen's girls and to get a story from them, but with the help of social media that we have, okay, I was able to bring a look at some Facebook posts because I did get time. So I apologize, but as we go through these, even though I might say this might be Adam or Mindy or Tara or whatever the case might be, I think if we look at them, every one of them, we will all remember Grandpa because of those things. Because if he did it with one grandchild, he did it with them all. First of all, there was the first grandson that he had. And Dad was always, a lot of you guys know, he wanted that Nelsen name to be carried on. And his first grandson was born Seth. Not with us now, but Dad loved that kid so much.